from the Virtual Media Production Studios in Chaffin Career Center, this is the Youngstown City School District Sports Report.
Welcome back. Already week 4, so this is episode 4, I should say, of the weekly YCSD sports report that we started over here at Chaffin, I'm going to continue to say it right or wrong. Again, this week we're going to, as we always do, provide you with some general updates that we had throughout the weeks, some updates on spring sports, answer any questions we have, and then we're going to introduce our guest of the week, Mr. Mark Metzka. So to kind of kick off, and I'm going to be quicker on my ramble this week because we have a really cool topic to talk about and we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to try to be extremely quick on my ramble. Biggest updates we have at this point is spring sports is officially here. So as you guys have heard me say the last couple episodes, check the websites, please. Every single day, if this phone's not ringing, this phone's ringing, the emails are buzzing. We are moving games, canceling games, changing with the weather. A day like today already this morning, we had the softball game at East get canceled, and then we are sending the team we are going to play over to Cheney to play. So with all the different moving pieces, there's just so much chaos. So parents, community members, please stay up on the websites. Again, eastgoldenbears.com, cheneycowboys.com, and just make sure we're communicating and listening to our coaches. Weather is not going to change. It's Ohio. I think we're expecting snow at some point next week, and then I'm sure we'll be back in the 60s. And again, the goal for what we're trying to do, though, is our kids need to play. They need to be involved in sport. They need to be on the fields. They need to be on the courts, on the tracks, wherever you want to call it. We'll do whatever we can to make sure we can play, and that's what we're going to do. So just bear with us. It's going to be confusing. There's frustrations. Please cuss me out in your freedom. Don't cuss the coaches out. But again, we want to play. Our kids need to play. Our coaches need to coach, and we need to improve. So we're going to do everything we can to play. So with that said, today there is a softball game over at Cheney High School, which again we're playing on our football fields. And there's been a little bit of, and I'll bring our guests into some of these conversations when we get there too. But there's been a little bit of conversation about like, why are we doing this? How are we doing this? This doesn't look cool. This doesn't look nice. Again, the goal is to play, and our fences did arrive today. So with our fences coming in, it's going to make our fields look a lot nicer. But 3 times already this year, we've played games on days where every other school in the area has canceled. So that's 3 times our kids have gotten the eligibility to be seen on by college coaches. Our kids have gotten to be able to play. Our parents have gotten a breather and a break from kids being at home. So that's 3 times that we've been able to play when others haven't. So that's the goal. We're going to continue to play on the fields. We're slowly always going to make better improvements, and we got tarps up on the dugouts now, so there's a little bit more protection there. So again, bear with us. At the end of the day, we want to play. A couple shout outs that we want to make, and I'll ease up on my ramble. Yesterday we did run a middle school track meet over at Canfield. Both East and Cheney Middle School took part in that. Ran very well. All of the results are up on mile split. That was a traditional track meet. We have, and shout out to our coaches, of course, but we have 50 kids on both of the middle school programs right now. So we have 100 kids running middle school track. Again, the goal of what we're trying to do here is to increase numbers, increase game, increase anything we can. 100 kids between the 2 schools running track at the middle school is huge. We had a home run, our second of the year, but the first home run, I believe, was last Friday. We had a student at East High School hit a home run over the fence home run on the turf baseball field over at East High School, which is every bit of about 375, 380. So caught it all over the fence. We had some video sharing on Facebook. And again, the boys over there are just doing a good job with what they have going on. So with that, East boys have split this week. I believe we're sitting at 2-1 right now with a couple wins and 1 tight loss. We actually came back down 9-0 in the first inning at our game yesterday, came back and won 10-9. So to give up 9 runs in 1 inning and then 0 for the rest of the game, again, kudos to those guys and the team. But to stick with it and never give up and keep going. Same with East softball. We're work in progress over there with East softball. Again, as we play more games, we're going to get better. So we're going to continue to do that. Cheney girls also split their season games last week, 1 win and 1 loss over there at Cheney. They're in action tonight, like we said. And then boys are going to kick off action this week. They have not had a game over at Cheney High School just yet with the boys. But they do have games this week. Again, you're going to keep hearing me say it. I'm going to be shocked if we play any baseball games this week. We're looking at rain the rest of the week. Today's going to be kind of that one day to get something in. So keep an eye on the updates. Keep an eye on Cheney Cowboys, East Golden Bears. Keep an eye on your group chats and your text messages. Bear with us the best you can. Volleyball clinics are still going on every Tuesday and Thursday over at Cheney High School. So again, same boat. If you're interested in volleyball, if you're participating in volleyball, get over to Cheney High School. We have clinics going on from 3:30 to 5:30 every Tuesday and Thursday. So, like I said, I'm going to be quick on my end because the topic that Mark and I have to talk about is going to be pretty extensive, and it's going to be really good information for our parents, for our community, for our kids, but also just a good general conversation. So, if I can, I think we're going to move the camera here. I'm going to introduce to you guys Mr. Mark Metzka. Mark is the Assistant Director of Admissions at Slippery Rock University and also the Assistant Men's Basketball Coach at Butler Community College. So, Coach, thank you for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate
you. How you doing?
Good. Everything's good.
Yeah, welcome to the set. It's pretty.
It's awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. Almost as awesome as spring sports in the north, right?
Don't even get me. I don't have any hair left to lose. It's going to start coming out of my chest and my back soon.
Remember those days.
But no, tell us about yourself. You know, what I know I said your positions, but tell us about yourself. What do those mean? What do you do?
Yeah, so I've worked in admissions at the Rock since 2004.
Cool.
Kind of had one stint in between there where I coached at a prep school. Had a prep school experience. Actually, my boss was Dylan McCullough, who's the current running back coach for the Raiders. Just moved.
With the Chiefs.
Yep, just moved from, he was at Indiana, then he was at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And now he's with the Raiders. So Dylan was my boss down there in Harmony, which got me a lot of experience in what we're about to talk about the recruiting game.
Yep.
We put 12 kids in Division I basketball that year. And then back at Slippery Rock, my role at the D2 level, a lot involved with athletics, athletic recruitment, so I can speak on different timelines, the way things work, the differences between male and female sports, recruiting services, as you alluded earlier. And then last season, a friend of mine is the head coach at Butler Community College on the men's side, Joe Lewandowski. He is also the Olympic coach for 3-on-3 men's basketball for Team USA. Yeah, so he's Jimmer Fredette, Canyon Berry. He's the head coach of that team.
Did they just win gold?
Nope, they got beat because Jimmer got hurt.
Okay.
Jimmer got hurt, and then it was kind of all downhill from there. But he's the head coach with USA National, the girls. Yep.
That's right.
So, and we've worked with them, in the past, which is great. So he needed an assistant because his assistant got a promotion, the women's assistant at Slippery Rock. So Christian moved over with us. Wow. Joe needed a guy, so I stepped in and helped, and this was year 2 for me there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of fun.
A little bit of, I know I can call you older than me, but what about your high school path? What did you, because you played college ball.
Correct, at Slippery Rock.
So tell us a little bit about where you graduated from, how you got your recruited. I know things have changed. That's what we were talking about.
A lot, and we still talk about that a lot as we start to bring this up. So I graduated from Springfield in 1991, same year as Mark Brungard, who had all the success at Youngstown State. John Dorenzo also went on to have a wonderful basketball career at Geneva College. I went to Slippery Rock University. And the AAU scene then was not what it is now. Yeah. We threw together a group of some local players. We had a lot of good scholarship level guys in my class, in the 91 class. Dennis Green from Liberty was a teammate of mine for 4 years at Slippery Rock University. And it was different then. It was based on a little bit more about what your high school team did. So being at a place like New Middletown, Springfield on the smaller side was tough, but fortunately we had enough success to get a little bit of attention and had a couple opportunities at the D2 and a handful at the Division I level. But for me, I didn't know it at the time, but I made the choice based on what I tell students now. Right? Go where they love you, go where you can get on the floor, and go where you find that fit, not just the athletic fit, not just the locker room culture, but the university fit as well.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to have a good career there. Ended up playing overseas for a couple years. Joe and I actually were teammates. The guy that I coach with now, we played in Denmark. I was there from 99 to 2001. And then played a little bit of semi-pro with the Youngstown Wildcats. Yeah. That was the IBL team that we played out of the Struthers Fieldhouse. So, awesome. Had a long enough basketball career.
Yeah, so you've been around the whole time.
Right.
And the one thing that's never changed, and didn't change in your time, my time, or the current time we're at, the one thing that's never going to change and won't change is grades. You still need those grades. You still need the GPA. You still need what you need to get into school, which we're going to dive into. So a couple questions that we have just to kind of walk you through it. So walk me through, walk our viewers through, walk our kids who have hopefully eventually watch this. What is the typical recruiting process like for a high school athlete?
Yep. So a lot of it really depends on the sport, right? Mm-hmm. So who still gets recruited from their high school team? Football and track.
Right.
Who gets recruited from clubs? Everybody else, right? Like our volleyball coaches are not going to high school matches. They're watching JO volleyball tournaments. Right. Our basketball coaches, rarely do they go to high school games. They're going to AAU tournaments. So one of the things that you have to ask yourself is it worth the investment for me to play outside of my school season? And can I play outside of my school season? Because that's going to increase those opportunities. Even baseball, right? The club baseball, the club soccer, all of the club stuff. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to participate, But at the same time, that's where the recruiting is happening, because coaches can go to those events, they can see multiple kids in one location on a weekend, so a lot of it is coming there.
Yeah.
And you also have to understand the timelines.
Right.
Football, for us, D2 level, got beat in the national semifinal last year. We lose to the national champs by 10. We started recruiting high school kids after our season, right? So it's late. It is senior season. I tell football kids all the time, mid-year film, senior year. That's what we're going to start looking at. We're not early at our level. The only folks that haven't got really affected by the transfer portal are the top kids, the 4 stars, the 5 stars. That's never going to change. It's those fringe kids. I'm a good D3, maybe sneak onto a D2. It's going to be late. It's just not going to happen early. But then also I work with field hockey, lacrosse, softball, and women's soccer. Their 2026 rosters are almost finished. So you really have to know the timelines of your sport and get on the NCAA site, use the eligibility center stuff, make sure that we're paying attention to that stuff, because I have a lot of people coming to me, even right now, hey, 2025 volleyball kid, that's too late. It's too late. So timelines are everything.
And a lot of the stuff, like you kind of said, like the eligibility stuff, we handle a lot of that behind the scenes. So a lot of times our guidance counselors inside the schools, myself, our coaches, we kind of make sure we're on there. We have all the eligibility, the transcripts, the attendance, all those different things. We have those uploaded on there. But parents, as you're hearing from Coach, ask these types of questions. So and we're going to kind of keep going through this, but ask those types of questions. Is my kid on the eligibility center? Because we had a lot of times when we first started this a couple years ago, we had a great group of kids coming out of East High School with that football team when we were kind of playing as one. And it was new to all of us. It was new to East High School. It was new to us. And we're sitting there and we're like, shoot, we don't even have these kids on the portal.
Right.
So those are things that, lessons learned and what we're getting better at. So, with that, what can we do? What can our coaches do? What can our parents do? Our families do? What can we do to help our kids get recruited at a higher level?
The first thing right now, back to what you just said about eligibility center, right? They changed the levels now. So there's 3 levels of profile, and the first one is a free one. So if you get to 9th grade and you have even aspirations to play a sport after high school, go on as a 9th grader and create that profile that's free. So you have that free profile. So then if you end up going to a D3, a non-scholarship school, you don't ever have to do another thing.
Correct.
But as soon as you are going to take those visits at the scholarship level, then you have to up your profile to the D1 and D2 amateurism.
If I could butt in for a second, and not to cut you off, but one of the things that we have here, and again, as you walk through, I kind of saw your eyes. You're like, wow, this is like, you guys have so much stuff here. And you've spent some time in this building as well.
Yep.
One of the things that we have here is we've actually received a grant. All of our kids get the top level for free.
Nice.
So
perfect.
We actually fill that out, and you get the top. I don't mean to cut you off, but we actually get the top level here for free. So that's a cost that our families don't have to pick up. That's a cost that our school district has been able to pay for.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to cut you off, so go ahead.
Well, and then the other thing that you have to do, and this is the hard part,
Yep.
because we've had student athletes at Slippery Rock University who were literally getting on the bus for our first game their freshman year, got pulled off the bus because the math class they took in 9th grade wasn't on the eligibility center.
Yes.
So you also have to now become familiar with what are our classes. Old people call that a 48H, right? Yep. Now it's a list of approved courses from your school with the NCAA. Is this math an approved core? Because a lot of times now when we're seeing students that are borderline, sometimes it's the GPA, more times than not, they are core deficient in terms of the number of core classes. So becoming familiar with that, all that stuff on the eligibility center is something that I would recommend.
And that's something Tiffany, I have to shout out Tiffany Varney, Tiffany Slacko. We're on that right now. It's something we're working on behind the scenes right now. And you might know it, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it was always a math class that was never accepted. It was it entry-level statistics?
Or business math, consumer math,
yes.
all those that we sometimes take in grade 9 or 12, and those are the sticking points.
And with that too, I mean, kids that you have, so anybody, athletes, students, however you guys want to word it, if you have interest at playing sports at the next level, don't cheap out your high school experience with and I don't want to call them, bullcrap classes, because that's not fair. These classes are all important, but as you heard Coach say, just make sure you guys are doing what you can do, because I did it myself, right? My senior year at Springfield, I was in knitting 101, I was in home body 101, I was in workshop 101. And again, I learned a lot of stuff in those courses, but they did nothing for me as far as making sure I could go to the next level. So just, as Coach said, make sure you're doing it. So you kind of touched on it as far as the educational side goes too, but the next question I was going to ask you is what's a common mistake that you see a lot of high school athletes make during the recruiting process, or things that they think they're doing that are helping them get recruited and they're just not?
Right, right. Well, one of the things that is coming down to pretty much everything now is highlight films.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What are we putting on our highlight film?
Yep.
Well, coaches are smart enough to know that every shot goes in on a highlight film, but let's paint an accurate picture of ourselves in what we're putting out there on the social media, and be careful of your social media. That's the first thing that our coaches are doing now when they're becoming aware of student athletes, is they're diving into their socials. And if you got some crazy stuff on there, they're just not going to take you. Because in this day and age, the high school students are last on the totem pole. They're going to start with the portal. We're going to work down from the portal. We're going to go to prep school kids. We're going to go to junior college kids, and then we get to high school. So you really have to be above and beyond now to create opportunities for yourselves. And I don't always necessarily mean in terms of quantity. We signed 23 guys on signing day football Division II. That's normal. That hasn't changed. But the money's different. They didn't get the same money. Where's the money? The 9 mid-year guys that we brought in out of the portal, or the 4 or 5 more that we're going to bring in out of the portal. St. Francis University this week just announced they're moving from Division I to Division III, right? So we got 105 dudes now from St. Francis that are looking for a spot. So we have money set aside for those guys. You have to be above and beyond as a high school student. So one, you already said it. The best thing you can do, high academics. First thing they're going to ask, how is he in the classroom? How is she in the classroom? Second, what's their social media like? Third, and it happens, right? Your body language when they watch your film, a lot of times they're just going to watch what you do on the bench. It's not just what you do when you're out there. How do you interact with your team? Quick story. When I was at the prep school, had a big kid, ended up playing 4 years at the University of Florida. I'm sitting in my living room in Struthers, Ohio, talking to Billy Donovan, right? Billy Donovan did not ask me one question that had anything to do with his ability to play. That's not why he called me. They knew he was good enough, right? What type of teammate is he? Is he the first one there? Is he doing extra work? Is he the last one to leave, right? Is he complaining? How's his parents? Are his parents calling you all the time complaining about his minutes, right? Are they happy with his role? Does he think he's a 3-man when he's a 4? That stuff, right? So be good at the self-evaluation thing. Be a good teammate. Carry yourself with good body language. All of that stuff is how you separate yourself from the rest, because believe me, they're going to lean that direction over somebody that even might have a little bit more talent, but if there's baggage, you're going to hurt yourself.
And even enlighten me on it, because, of course, we all think we know every coach is right and every AD is perfect and every, and one of the biggest things that I say, and do you guys even look, like, if a kid averages 30 a game, is that, 30 is an impressive number, right? And you have to be talented to go out and get 30. But are you even looking at stats? I mean, are you even looking at the raw numbers? Because they're so jaded. If I give you 50 shots, you're going to score 30. At least, hopefully you're scoring 50 if I'm giving you 50 shots.
Sure.
So, I mean, are you guys even really diving into just the raw numbers? Or is it more so what you just said, like watching the film and the tape?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stats are the most overrated thing in recruitment. We hear that a lot. So-and-so from this high school averaged 27 a game or 30 a game, but so-and-so over here that played in the top league with the top team, right, with 4 really good teammates, hey, they only average 8 or 9 a game, but man, their talent level. So recruiting to the next level is way, way less about stats, and it's about a skill set. Do you possess a skill set, athleticism, size, whatever, that fits into the way that we want to play? And therefore, that's the thing that students who are being recruited have to kind of seek out. What is the best fit for me, both from my individual talent standpoint and what am I going to do away from that sport? I always talk to kids about locker room culture. Who are you hanging out with after practice? Right? Do you see yourself with that group of people? And be realistic with those things.
And that's so, and this is almost more of a personal question on some stuff. And thank you guys. Like kids that you see, and we're going to dive into the transfer portal stuff before our time runs up, but kids that you see at the high school level kind of jump from 3 different schools within 3 different years and 4 schools in 3 years. What's that look like?
Bad. I mean, it's tough, but now it's almost become the norm. I will say it's less bad now because that's what college is looking like. But back in the day, that wasn't the thing. So that was always a red flag. It was a red flag with eligibility center. It was a red flag with coaches. If somebody's skipping around, even with club teams,
Yeah.
Why, this student started with them. Who's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Every coach can't be at fault in that scenario. So working on your coachability, working on dealing with some things, but it all comes back to what you said already. If my stats are being affected, I'm going to try to find someplace else. Don't put that much emphasis on statistics. That's not really what we're looking at.
Yeah, and so correct me if I'm wrong, and of course I'm biased, right? I've been here for 10 years now. My heart's with Youngstown. My love is with Youngstown. I want to see these kids succeed. And so I'm a little bit biased, but correct me if I'm wrong. Graduating from Youngstown, you kind of get that check mark of the grit, the toughness, you're going to get that from our kids. You're going to get so you already kind of get that automatically check mark. Is that something you guys actually talk about at your level?
No question. School by school.
Right.
Right. We had some kids up, and hey, they're coming from this school, this coach, they know how to play.
Right.
Right. It has nothing to do with their numbers. They've been coached. They know how to play. So with our AAU organizations, we're talking about stuff like that, having conversations every day. Hey, you're taking a kid from this high school. They're going to have a little bit of toughness. Those kids are just tough.
Right.
It's the reputation of that absolutely helps you in that recruiting process.
Perfect. So you touched on parents a little bit, and what role do parents play? What's the perfect parent guardian role for somebody that's going to come in and want to recruit a kid? Give us like that play-by-play that you would want to see, other than sit on the couch and shut up. What do you want to see by a parent?
Right. The best thing that we can hope for as coaches at the next level is that you're just going to be supportive and understand that this isn't high school anymore, right? This is playing after high school. What percentage of student athletes play after high school? 7%. Your student athlete, just by getting this opportunity, is in the top 7% of high school student athletes in the country.
Right.
One, appreciate that, right? And don't approach the recruitment as, well, what can you guys do for me or us, right? It's what are we going to do for that student athlete to help develop them to the professional person or whatever they are after their playing careers are over. And to me, the biggest disappointment is that it's the students who have the opportunities to play after, but they say, well, if I can only play at this level, I'm just going to go to school.
Right.
That nothing saddens me more than that is when I hear that from student athletes. Any sport, male, female, doesn't matter. Playing athletics in college develops a skill set that prepares you to be successful, right? It's the team sport thing, individual sport thing. It's the discipline. It's the all of those, the coachability, the grit, as you said, dealing with adversity, coping skills, everything that's going to help you in your life is further developed and magnified at the college level. And I really get disappointed when kids don't choose to play.
Yeah, and so what's the biggest, you guys give a tour, obviously, and I haven't been on your guys' campus in a while, but you're not competing with Ohio State and Texas. You're just not.
Right.
What's the biggest takeaway that you would tell somebody that's coming to view and coming to look at some schools? For us, it's obvious. Look at the program and look at the coach, and if that's going to work. But how do you guys sell your campuses to kids that are like, wow, I was at Ohio State last week and they had the best weight room in the world.
Right.
Talk a little bit about just kind of when you go on a college visit, what are you looking for? What should we look for?
Yep. Well, a lot of times it's the success of the program, and that's what we're selling right now. Hey, we're going to give you an opportunity to get on the field a little bit earlier, because that's another thing you have to, and that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how you're going to react to sitting because you've never sat before, right? Odds are if you're getting recruited at this level, you've never sat. If you make that jump to that extra high level, you're going to spend some time watching, or you can take yourself a level down and get yourself on the floor early. Mm-hmm. So that's one of them. And then the other thing is style of play. Do you fit into this style of play? Right. I see student athletes a lot of times making choices because it's the highest level, but maybe not the best style of fit or play or fit for them. So that's another thing. And the other thing is, don't get caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter. They're an Adidas school, not a Nike school, right? They get more gear, they get more pair of shoes. At the end of the day, there's two things that are fun about playing in college. That's playing, getting on the field, getting on the floor, and winning. Mm-hmm. So if you pick a spot where they love you, then go where they love you.
Right.
There's two opportunities: where they love you or where they'll take you, right? Yep. Going in as the guy that they love puts you automatically in a higher level than those other individuals, and that's where you want to be when you're coming in, especially coming in out of high school.
Yeah, and that's and the ceremony is going to be the same, right? You win, you're going to get a ring. You win, you're going to get this. The promotion is there. So with our time running out, the biggest kind of topic, and I'm going to go off the questions we want to talk about, and you mentioned it's the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, and you kind of touched on it, if you're not a 5-star in the basketball world, if you're not 6'8" and can play the point, and in the football world, if you're not 6'5", 250 per month, you're probably not even going to get looks anymore at the college ranks.
Right.
So how do we navigate at the high school level? How do we navigate making kids understand that JUCO route is not a bad route? The community college route is not a bad route. How do we go about doing those types of things? 'Cause I'm sure you guys are working on that at your level.
For sure. And one of the things that's helping us is the NCAA legislation.
Yeah.
They've already voted in Division I to approve if you go to a junior college, you get the year back, right?
Yeah, which is
now,
awesome.
Division II, at this point, has voted that down, but I don't see that sticking in there.
Okay.
But they're trying to make junior colleges more relevant for these kids because you have to look at it this way. We used to talk about the trickle-down effect.
Right.
Well, for student athletes in college now, it's the trickle-up effect.
Yeah.
Because if you have a great career as a D3, you're going to the scholarship level. If you're a D2 kid, you're transferring up, right? If you're a low Division I kid, you're transferring up to a Power
Right.
4 because of the NIL is going to drag you there. But college athletes trickle up, high school recruitment trickles down.
Right.
So we are seeing students that used to be D2 kids who are now getting D3 opportunities, and we're seeing those D3 kids who don't want to pay $20,000, $25,000 to go to a D3 to play,
Right.
because depending on your academic profile, they can only help you so much, and that's who's falling to the JUCO level. So just through natural change, it's helping, but the NCAA legislation is going to back us up saying, hey, this is a good option for students. We just had a conversation last night about two of our local guys. Derek Anderson's still playing. He had a great year this year at Lake Erie College. And if he goes to a Division I school, he's got another year.
Right.
Because he gets that JUCO year back.
Correct.
So he actually was at three different JUCOs,
Yep.
then Gannon, Lake Erie, 5 schools in 5 years, could be 6 schools in 6 years because he has another year of eligibility. So we're talking about those guys really being good junior college products, and also, most importantly, getting a degree or multiple degrees
Right.
with no loan.
Well, and that was going to be my next question. How does that work? So, and again, I'm just dumbed down is not the right word, but simplifying it down to some tasks too. So, kid graduates from Cheney East, right?
Yep.
They go to you for 2 years.
Yep.
Then they move on from you to YSU.
Yep.
What, are they getting an associate's degree? Are they getting bachelor credits? How does the schooling work on that aspect?
They can. So
Okay.
all of the above. So we have students that come in with us, they declare majors, they come out with the AA, and it makes the transferability a lot easier once they have the AA. When they come out, they could be on general studies with us, and they're going to transfer to all the 4-year institutions. So I think that's the point of the NCAA legislation, is steer kids to junior colleges because they're earning usable college credit, right? So the goal, the ultimate goal is to get you out the same amount of years of eligibility you have to play.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna, whether they transfer to a D2, to a D3, or to a
Right.
D1, even if they end up at the D3, because that's what they are, they've probably saved themselves $30,000 or $40,000 being with us those first couple years.
Yeah.
And our situation is unique. We're a D3 junior college, but the financial aid a lot of times will cover, and the scholarships will cover. It's a low number, and they can transfer out with credit after 1, which is
Right.
different. If you are a qualifier through the Eligibility Center, you don't have to stay 2 years to be eligible. So we're in the business of trying to get kids to their next spot.
Right.
And let's figure out how we're going to get that degree as affordably as possible.
Yeah, and that's and I'll apologize now. We're probably going to go over a minute or two, obviously, because there's just so much of this
Yeah.
topic, and there's so much that you don't know if you don't know. And there's in the old school days of a coach knocking on your door and saying, "Come here," you're just not going to get that anymore. So how do you navigate the cost? And you're kind of answering these as you kind of go.
Yeah.
But how do you guys navigate that lifestyle where kids just got to start to understand that, and you've touched on it, and my ramble question will stop here soon, but Ohio State's just not looking at high school students anymore, because why would they when they can go pick up the backups from, Akron's and Kent State's?
Right.
They could go get the kids that have left. We've seen it. I think St. John's, March Madness is going on right now.
Right.
I think St. John's and all 5 of their starters, none of them were at St. John's last year.
Correct.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe all 5 of them have re-entered the portal again. There's a couple college rosters that have 0 kids on them right now. I think, is Illinois one of them?
Right.
There's actually 0 rostered basketball players on their roster.
And when the guy took over at Drake last year, he had 0.
And
he
they made
brought
the tournament this year.
4 Division II guys with him, right, and won the conference.
Yep.
So National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, so I didn't even really end in a question with that one, but the biggest takeaway is we have to get our kids' mindsets to shift, right? Not
100%.
Not going to Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio State. That's not a bad thing. You know, every time you watch kids get recruited and you're like, oh, if you're not getting looks here, that means you're no good. It's just not true. So at this point, we need to transition on our side to make sure we're playing at the next level. So,
and people have no idea how good you have to be to play at any level.
Well,
if you don't think
especially.
Division III basketball is good, go watch Mount Union play John Carroll, or go watch Mount Union play Marietta. It's a wonderful conference, and you have to be a really good player to be in that game. So when students pass on that opportunity, because I always call it the Roman numeral, right? What's the Roman numeral after division? If it's 2 or 3, I'm just going to go to school. I think D2, and this is obviously my bias because this is my home, I think D2 is the most unknown of the folks in our area because we're familiar with Division I because we watch them on TV. We know D3s because we have them around. But a lot of coaches will say, I think it's a D2 kid. And my question back to them is, when's the last time you've seen a game in our league? Come watch us play. Like you have to be pretty special to be a scholarship level, Division II anything. And that takes that number down to 2% of student athletes actually get athletic scholarships across the board, any sport. So it's high level competition, and there's nothing wrong with the experience, and you're getting the same lessons.
Yeah, and we're over time now, but I always laugh too, like YSU, I know they're right down the street. I always get all those, like, why isn't YSU looking at the kid? I'm like, do you guys realize how good you have to be? Like, YSU is a Division I school. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Like the level of play at YSU, and it's, again, it's no knock on some of the smaller schools, some of the smaller places, but I'll hear those comments from like the Lowevilles and the Springfield, where we went to school. And it's like, why isn't YSU, which Brungard's kids over there playing now? But I'm like, do you guys understand that YSU, just because we're so used to them being down the street, like they're still playing extremely high level ball across every single sport.
Absolutely.
So again, we have to wrap it up. I know, and maybe we'll come back and continue the conversation because there's so much information. So if you can kind of give us like a 2-3 minute wrap up of the overall picture of what we are hoping to get the point across with this conversation today.
The first thing that I want everybody to know is, if you have an opportunity to play after high school, you're a stud. I don't care what the level is. If you have the opportunity to play any sport at any level after high school, you are a stud. So look at it that way and appreciate that opportunity. And it's okay to be thankful because there was a lot of sacrifices that got you to that point. Take the opportunity, okay? Get out there, visit schools, find your fit, and also don't settle. Don't settle. Do your work early. That's my college admission spiel. Do your work early. If you do your work early and you find the fit, make it a class. When you get to be in the spring of grade 11, let's get out there, let's visit campuses, let's find where we belong. Let's block out the naysayers. You know, find the people in your life that truly are in it for you and not in it to gain something from it, and get yourself in a good situation and go be a college athlete. For me, it's opened up every door that's ever opened for me in my life has come back to the fact that I played after high school. Every contact that's in my phone somehow comes back to that. So I want that success for you. So I'm always encouraging students to do it, and I'll be happy to help you. Whether it's Slippery Rock, BC3, or wherever, we're going to help kids. And that's what people who are in my line of work, that's why we do it. We're in it to help kids. So if there's ever anything that I can offer up for you guys, please don't ever hesitate to ask.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming through. We'll share your contact info, your email info. And like I said, I have a feeling we're probably going to come back to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the summer, there's going to be some down months where there's just not much to talk about over the spring season. So we'll probably come back to that. But like I said, we're probably way over our time. We're going to start getting yelled at by some teachers in the schools over here. So again, we want to appreciate you, Mark, for coming out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all the knowledge. Thanks for all the experiences. And again, kids, we'll share the contact information in the emails. But that's going to kind of wrap up our episode now. So the biggest takeaway, again, from the conversation is start looking into those JUCO routes. Start looking into some alternative routes, because with the portal right now, those opportunities just really aren't there. And unless you're that 5-star 1%, 0.5% of an athlete, you're just not going to get those phone calls from the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Power 5 schools. So keep your guys' phones, some options open, talk to your coaches. We're going to continue to kind of train our coaches so they can learn more about the JUCO route, because again, when we went to school, it was always, if you don't get into a D1 school, you're no good. And that stuff's obviously changing and transitioning. So again, we're going to wrap it up. I can ramble, you guys know that. Tonight we got some softball going on over at Cheney High School on the field. We got some hopefully games the rest of the week, but with the weather, best of luck to all of us. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 5. I have to find us a guest, and like I said, it might be us again, just kind of revisiting. We might find another coach to come in and talk about the next steps. So again, Youngstown, we are out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next Tuesday, the following Tuesday. So thank you guys.